and essence of the East Side is really fighting to be retained.
Preservation versus progress. It's one of the main concerns in Dignowity Hill, and it's what brings us to the area. In this episode of Know My Neighborhood, we explore the fight to hold on to history while focusing on the future.
It's seconds from downtown. You can hop on your bike, go downhill, hardly have to pedal, and boom, there you are.
Plus, with views of the skyline from your front door, people call this neighborhood San Antonio's best kept secret. But that proximity to downtown presents challenges, like access to big grocery stores and a large community of unhoused people, those who live on the streets and are also considered neighbors.
This is where the people are. We want to be in the heart of the homeless situation. We want to be very, very close to downtown area because most of them accumulate around this area. So we want to be where the problem was.
In Know My Neighborhood, Dignowity Hill, we address the concerns of the people who live here, who work here, who know it best, and get a sense of the compassion that makes this place so unique. It's an hour-long episode, and it starts right now.
Hello and welcome to the theater at the Carver Community Cultural Center for KSAT's live neighborhood newscast. It's a major hub for families, history, and entertainment here in Dignowity Hill, and now the epicenter of this episode of Know My Neighborhood. Good evening. I'm Steve Spriester.
And I'm Myra Arthur. You've heard just a little bit about Dignowity Hill, but there is so much more we will share over this next hour, including a tradition that exists here that is very unique. It is one that turns people from strangers into neighbors and friends.
It was a great way to get to learn the ins and outs of Dignowity and really figure out what this place is all about. Welcome to Dignowity Park. Usually during Know My Neighborhood, we take car tours to get to know a neighborhood. But in this episode, we're going porch to porch, a porch parade. It's a great way to get to know your neighbors and a neighborhood.
It's a walkable community. We walk to the grocery store. We walk to the Riverwalk. We walk to restaurants and bars.
We get to see people walking around all the time, and so we can't imagine living anywhere else.
It's just about being a neighbor. It's about being a friend. It's about being a good community member, and that's what we're doing here.
Is this kind of the spirit of the neighborhood when you go to these different porches and meet different people?
Most definitely. I mean, I think it suits the neighborhood because you see the community. You see how welcoming everybody is and how open everybody is.
Yeah. Where were you before you were here?
We were in Westover Hills, so a little inside the loop from Alamo Ranch. When you have a neighborhood that does sort of gel together the way that we've noticed that this one does, people say, how can we help people stay here? Even filling out homestead exemption forms. How do we help people do those things that they may not know about so they can stay here for a few more generations as well?
Yeah, that's a taxes thing. I mean, taxes are an issue.
It's crazy. It's crazy. We pay double the taxes here that we did in Westover Hills.
This is one of the quickest gentrifying neighborhoods still continuously over the past decade. That is a challenge to face. It's difficult to say you don't want the increase in amenities and investment, but at the same time, you don't want the increase in your property value. That's a balance we haven't really figured out yet. So that is still a frustrating challenge for us.
What is the biggest stereotype about Dignowity Hill that you don't agree with?
That it's a dangerous neighborhood. I think maybe it was in the past. I've only been here about 3 years. So it's still got that stigma that I think a lot of inner city neighborhoods have.
I would say as someone who grew up over here, there's still a misconception about it being a dangerous neighborhood. We've got new neighbors moving in and they've heard those rumors in the past. Honestly, my reflection on it is it's decreasing. It's definitely going down. We still got a little bit of trouble, but I mean, honestly, what neighborhood doesn't nowadays?
Those porch parades really do show how this neighborhood comes together. You got to experience that. That's what's happening now, but Dignowity Hill wasn't always open to everyone.
Well, back in the 1800s, though, Dignowity Hill was the place where titans of business and leaders in industry raised their families. It was made a historic district about 20 years ago, but as our Jessica Delgado reports, there is a lot of history in Dignowity Hill, but for some, it's also home.
Oh my God, those same candelabras.
Seeing them brought tears to her eyes and a flood of memories.
And we used to take pictures in front of these candelabras.
Little did Nancy Reed and her brother Frank Rhodes know that their childhood home would someday be in the Dignowity Hill Historic District, San Antonio's first affluent neighborhood. Looking back, the siblings say just living here was significant in and of itself.
An African American able to purchase a home.
Unheard of at one time, since people, like their parents, weren't always allowed to live here. In building their stately homes here well over a century ago, the city's wealthiest families did what a Czech immigrant couple had done. The home of Dr. Anthony Michael Dignowity and his wife Amanda, known as Harmony House, stood at the highest point of the hill that bears their name. They wanted to live somewhere with a view and without any low-lying areas. Eventually falling into disrepair, Harmony House was demolished decades later.
And in its place is the park that's surrounded by the history that abounds in Dignowity Hill.
From the city's oldest African-American church, St. Paul United Methodist, established in 1866, to its expansive historic cemeteries, including a national cemetery, each with notable figures who are buried there. And before it became the nationally renowned Carver Community Cultural Center,
Black people couldn't go to the libraries. We had to have our own segregated library.
Still, as San Antonio grew, change was inevitable. As prominent families moved to newer affluent neighborhoods, African Americans who worked for the railroads and others moved in, making the neighborhood more their own.
A middle-class neighborhood, still very proud and hardworking.
Although many of the 19th century homes bearing well-known names were demolished, there's still the former home of Ed Friedrich, founder of Friedrich Refrigeration, and the home of Emil Elmendorf, whose family owned a hardware business where City Hall is now, still stands, and it's been undergoing additional renovations. The families who once lived in houses like this are long gone, but the history remains.
In the houses, in the stories that people tell, in the memories that they have of growing up here.
Hold those near and dear to your heart like I do.
I hadn't been in here in a long time.
Memories that brought her to tears. Jessie Degollado joins us now. Jessie, Dignowity is named that because?
Because of Dr. Dignowity, a respected physician, but also a very outspoken abolitionist. So much so that his son had to warn him, Dad, they want to hang you. And so he had to basically get out of town to save his own life. And so he wasn't able to come back till after the Civil War. And when he did get back, he realized that the Confederate Army had taken over his property on Dignowity Hill, obviously for a logistical, strategic point, looking down on the city.
Yeah. So he had to fight to get it back.
He had to fight to get it back, and when he finally got it back, talk about interesting, a little twist of, ironic twist of justice. He ended up selling part of that land that he confiscated, that he got back from the Confederates. He sold it to the U.S. Army so that they could start building Fort Sam Houston.
And there is so much more history to this neighborhood that we weren't even able to include here.
Exactly, which is why if you'll go to our website, we have 10 points of historical interest about Dignowity Hill, because like I say, it's all around us.
History on every corner in this neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Jessie, thank you so much for that story. I loved it. Welcome back to Know My Neighborhood, Dignowity Hill. We are live here inside the Carver Theater, nestled right in the heart of Dignowity Hill. And we've been talking about how rich the history is here. It seems like almost every building, every home has a story.
And that has attracted people to this area to invest and revitalize homes throughout. But as Marilyn Moritz explains, all that investment might be too much of a good thing.
I had to put all new plumbing, all new electricity.
Dee Smith bought an old abandoned bungalow at auction for $3,200, sight unseen.
It's like a haunted house. And I almost cried.
Now, 16 years later, it's all fixed up, and it's valued at $600,000.
It started going up little by little, then it started tripling and quadrupling, and now it's out of control.
Smith lives in historic Dignowity Hill, where property values are climbing through the gable roof. 10 years ago, the average here was a very modest $41,000. 5 years later, $138,000 to now $270,000. And that brings fatter tax bills.
People are being priced out of their homes.
Evelyn Brown's lived on this corner since she was 10, a witness to the gentrification. You see it on the streets lined with Victorian renos, modern builds, next to humble homes in disrepair. Brown turns away investors who come knocking.
I don't care what they're offering. You're not moving? I'm not moving. You know that. One time you couldn't give away the east side. Now it's like, I can't wait till I get my hands on it, you know. So it's been quite a drastic change.
It's not so much the houses that are soaring in value, it's the land. It's no longer dirt cheap. This vacant lot was worth about $8,000 10 years ago, and now more than $200,000.
Done really well. It's a craftsman.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jamie Rowan is a real estate broker who lives here, lured by location and vibe.
I think it's very appealing to a younger kind of working population who want to live in and around downtown San Antonio.
Like Deborah Logan, she's thrilled she just bought her first home.
There's always concerns because as values rise, sometimes your paycheck isn't rising to meet those needs.
And property values are likely to rise even more because they follow the sales.
So the average sold price this year so far is around $338,000.
Most of those sales, house flippers, sort of a bad word around here.
They don't hate the fact that people are coming in and renovating homes. They just want them to do a quality job and abide by the rules that have been set forth by HDRC.
Like Rowan, many here are excited for the rebirth, but...
Do I want to walk outside of my house and 2 blocks later I'm at the best coffee shop in the city? Yes, but at what expense?
And that's the challenge, building a future that's fair to all who call Dignowity Hill home.
And Marilyn joins us here live at the Carver. So Marilyn, what do neighbors want here?
What they want is for the developers to respect the history and not try to cram 4 homes onto a single lot. They want more affordable housing. Like the rest of the city, they want property tax relief. But since they're already paying those higher taxes, they just want something to show for it.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marilyn. Love that story.
Appreciate it.
Neighbors have described Dignowity Hill as a place that is committed to its history but open to its evolution. And there's a really interesting example of that in 2 places just blocks from each other.
Yeah, one of which we're standing in right now, the Carver here off of Hackberry, and then there's Velocity, Texas, just a few blocks away, a place focused on innovation and research in the life sciences, biotech. Here's a closer look at both.
There may be people who have no idea that the Carver is here.
Sadly, I think you're right.
The lobby and gallery of the Carver,
So we present or exhibit rather mostly local artists in this space.
was once the only library open to Black San Antonians during segregation. Outside,
Okay, so there is something written above these doors.
It reads the colored branch of the San Antonio Library and Auditorium. So that is what the building was named and dedicated as in 1929. It's really important for us to be true to our history and the reason that we exist. I mean, we came into existence because the Black community needed a place where they could be because they weren't allowed to be other places.
today, the Carver is a multicultural performing and visual arts center.
But we do have an emphasis on celebrating the art forms and artistic expressions of the Black community.
Generations in this neighborhood have gathered here for shows, for dances, even in times of need.
This was also a place where the community could come when there were times of flooding because this area was prone to flooding. The Carver isn't just a place where you can enjoy a show, it really is part of people's history.
In this same neighborhood, a bit of a contrast.
This is our Velocity Innovation Center.
In a shiny new space that's all about the future.
It's got labs and offices and conference rooms, and it's dedicated to help startups be successful.
Various companies, all in the life science industry.
They do stem cell manufacturing.
Even teaching future potential scientists in STEM workshops. Velocity chose Dignowity Hill in part because of its proximity to the city's urban core. This space was created in the old Merchants Ice Complex, which dates back a century.
Do you think that kind of describes an element of Dignowity Hill, on a larger scale, the history that's here, but also the way it's changed and really become something that's got a whole new look for the future in some spots?
Well, yes and no. I kind of feel differently about that. I sure want to maintain kind of the cultural richness of Dignowity, and I really enjoy more the historic kind of past that it has.
It is a tough balance to strike, but Velocity and the Carver tell us they're partners in making it happen.
Not only can you invest in the east side, in this area of town, but you can be successful, you can attract companies, you can create jobs.
There's so much growth happening here, so many people that are coming into the community, as well as those people that have been here all along.
And that's what I loved about profiling both of these places in Dignowity Hill. You might not think they go together on the surface, but the executive director of the Carver here talked about how innovation is a key part of the arts as well as science and technology. So there is space for both of that preservation and progress to exist within blocks from each other.
That's what I was going to say. You wouldn't think that necessarily they go together, but there's an energy in this neighborhood that they seem to not only coexist, they seem to cooperate.
I love the diversity.
The people that come around here, it's like a super touristic spot.
I love the fact that we have front porches, the fact that I know my neighbors.
It really is an amazing neighborhood.
The vibe mainly that it offers is like very homey.
There is a lot to discover about Dignowity, and we have certainly been doing that over the last few minutes. And I just want to thank all the people that have taken us into their homes, on their porches, just to talk about what they love about Dignowity and some of the concerns they have, because these are really neighbors' stories, neighbors' issues with neighborhood's voice.
Before you go, we want to remind you, if you missed any part of this neighborhood newscast, it is on our website right now. Just head to KSAT.com to check out Dignowity Hill's personalized page, where you'll find every story that we showed here tonight.